Welcome to Monday. So, I haven't mentioned this really because I didn't see a point in doing so because I was hoping it was an isolated case. I don't think it is. So, one of our pet goats, quotations, it's not really our pet, it's someone else's pet, went down and was sick with something. Could not tell you what. It was showing symptoms of listeria, but at the same time she was very coherent, so it wasn't like a brain thing. She was just losing motor function. It was very, very confusing. So I had kept her, and I ended up at the tail end of her life, I was isolated her. But I was giving her drugs for about 2 weeks, trying to figure out what the hell was going on with her. And I couldn't figure it out. She ended up having to be put down. And I still had no idea what the hell was going on. So I was watching, and there was a goat in the older pen that went down in a similar way, but not quite exactly the same way. But that one I kind of gave up on just because her condition had never been great. She had always been a runt. I had given her multiple rounds of drugs, and at this point it was something where it's like, I can't keep putting drugs into her to keep her barely alive. She's basically constantly suffering, and really there was just no point in continuing trying, so that one also had to be put down. However, now in the youngest babies, which is the pen I'm standing with here, they have come down with something 2 weeks ago or so, and I was treating for it, and they got through their treatments. There's two or three that have runny noses, but now that baby there is displaying some of the same symptoms that Belle and the other one were. So I'm incredibly concerned because now I think I've narrowed it down to it being some kind of a lung issue. Now, that's worrisome on all regards, because if the treatment I was giving them didn't knock it out, that's terrifying. But at the same time, it could also be an environmental thing, because we have to clean the underspace in a while. So, today, we are going to do major wash bay overhaul, and we're going to clean up the hay that's in front there. We're going to pressure wash the undersides so that all of the manure is dealt with and it's gone. And then I want to give rounds of treatments of a different treatment to the back group here and to anybody else who may be struggling. And then from there, if we have time, we'll do bedding. But bedding can be put off until tomorrow if need be. So that's going to be today. Just kind of wanted to say that. Alright, I just got done morning stuff. Now we're going to be cleaning . Okay, my day kind of got a lot of sidetracked. After lunch, I realized that I had forgotten something, so that was fun to have to then deal with. So, my employee that I was working with, Dante, he continued on what we were doing, and he said he finished, but we didn't have time to give treatments the way I want. So I just texted one of the employees to ask if she can come and stay after chores in order to get that done. So we'll see. Come on, Bear, you're being slow. Good girl. So, we're about to go see what he managed to get done, because he said he finished. So, we'll go and we'll double check. And we'll go from there. Because that was not anticipated to happen during my day. But yes, that's that. Let's go. Oh, that is different already. Okay, that's good. Come on. Much better. The fruit flies are still active, which sucks, but that's fine, I guess. So, where we're at is, it is now Tuesday afternoon. I just finished doing bedding with Dante, and this morning I did treatments, and yesterday night I did treatments, and I gave a triple shot. Instead of using penicillin, I gave oxytetracycline, I think. And so I'm about to go check on them. However, they look better, but I think that's because we cleaned out from underneath, not because of the drugs. I couldn't tell much of a difference from them from last night to this morning, but maybe the second shot that I gave them today will help with that, and I'll probably give a third shot tomorrow. But yes, so let's go check on them and see how they're doing. Hey, snot noses, come here. Right. So, they look a little better. Crossing my fingers that they'll continue to shape up a bit more. However, everybody is currently napping and hanging out, so I think that's that. Hey. What do you think? It's you. I don't think they like the selfie mode. This is the group that I made out of all of the pour doers from the other two groups, there and there. Those groups, since they had a bunch of greedy ones and a bunch of feisty ones, they weren't letting some of the smaller ones eat. I separated out the smaller ones, and they're doing pretty well now. I'm actually really happy. A lot of them have gained a lot more weight, and they're standing upright, and they're looking pretty good. I've only lost one of that group, but it was one that I had been struggling with the entire time, and that was the one that I mentioned earlier this week had the nose problem. So I think everybody's looking pretty good. I'm actually really happy with them for now. Alright, so today is Wednesday, and I've decided that for this week I'm going to basically show milking again. Nothing much has changed, however, rebriefing on it, probably a good thing. Today was bulk tank day, so it's been washed, it's all good, we're ready for turning it on to its cooling setting. I just need to disconnect the pipe and everything, and then we can put the pipe in the tank, which is the first step. So let's get this first part that I just said done, and then we'll move on. That little bit of water is because when I turned off the system, I forgot to turn off the water. So we've got a leak in one of our hoses right now, which basically just puts water through all of the time. And that has yet to be fixed. So we'll get to that eventually. Now, because of how our hoses are set up, this hose piece that connects to the washing portion here doesn't quite line up properly, so we usually use a kind of rubber stopper. And so when we don't need it to wash, normally I put it in the little bit of the end cap here so that it basically we keep track of it all of the time, because I have yet to find a spare amongst all of our things. I'm sure we have one, I have no idea where it is. But either way, that's how I kind of keep track of that one little piece. And then turn it so that it's closed, and we are good to put milk in. So first step when we're milking is we have to put the pipe into the tank. So this pipe, it has one connection here and one connection in the center there, and we basically disconnect the far side there, put it into the hole here. And the reason we have it set up as a elbow joint instead of just being a swivel joint, because usually you end up having one that can just basically easily just pull down and slide, or sorry, just pull down and it will go straight into the hole. But because of how tall our bulk tank is, that's not really an option in our setup. It used to be an option in our last setup, but not the current one. So let's get that done. Normally, I take off this clamp first, catch the O-ring that's in between there, then this one, and I keep the O-ring that's on this side, the black O-ring. I keep that on that end, and then it goes into the hole after you take the lid off, and then you take one of the clamps, put it back on, and you're set. So this pipe connects to our cooling plates that are there and the rest of the system. So before the plates, it goes through the filter. These filters get changed every single morning, and they get rinsed out in the evening. So that disappointingly dirty jar and that marginally dirty jar, which is still disappointing, are the holding jars that the milk goes into off of the parlor. How it gets up into the filter and then through the cooling, oh, don't mind me just dropping my camera, through the cooling plates and then through the pipe and into the tank are those little motors that run on two different speeds. I believe one is 60 and one is 80, I believe. Maybe one is 40 and the other is 80, but they run between those two different pump speeds in order to make sure that the milk takes the time it needs to through the cooling plates. And milk comes into these two jars through the big massive piping that is under there. The massive piping is under this metal cover. You can kind of see it there. those lines correspond to all of these milk pipelines. So, as you can see, this side of the parlor goes through those lines, and then this side goes through those lines, and both of those sets of lines go through and into the room, which is over there. So, what you normally do, and what I've shown before, is you take these milking cups and you put them on the goat. The milk goes through this big hose, this big line, which is the milk line, and goes into that metal pipe there. That's kind of an explanation of the roughest that I can give for the system. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of fancy words that I'm forgetting and a whole bunch of different terms, and maybe I've gotten one or two things wrong. However, that is my current understanding of at least the functionality of our current system. And I'm hoping this will never change. However, worst comes to worst, you never know. Something may implode and we may have to change something. But as I said, I hope we never do. However, this is our system. So, on to milking. So I forgot to mention that in order to start the system, we need to close all of these valves, because otherwise the vacuum doesn't have enough pressure to start. So that's what I'm currently doing. And then in order to prep for the actual milking aspect, where the goats come up on the deck, I have filled our feed basket 1, feed basket 2. I've filled them, and they run along the little feeders that you can see there. Oh, there we go. And they drop feed down into the troughs, those troughs, and that gives the goats a little bit of a snack and makes them want to come up onto the parlor more. Even though they already do like to come up onto the parlor, it just makes things a little bit easier. Our current snack is a corn and soybean mix that we make ourselves, and it's of our own roasted beans and roasted corn. We found that the goats handle the roasted material much better, and they also like it better. It tastes better. And I have to agree. So, yes, this is a portion that is tedious, and so tedious that I forgot to even mention it. So, yeah, we'll get to milking in a minute. Group number 1. Come on, ladies. Come on. Come on. Everybody in. Everybody in. And that's Wednesday. So I'm not planning any kind of Christmas get-together with my friends or anything. And one of my employees, Abby, she's become a really good friend of mine. And I've been planning to invite her to my Christmas things at the very least, if not to some more friend events. However, because of the way the month and the past month have shaped up, I just have not had the bandwidth in order to plan something like I normally do. So to compensate for it, today I took her out to do a little bit of a farm tour. We went to a farm of someone who I know in the community, and she has Highland cattle, which is Abby's favorite kind of cow. However, Abby loves cows. So I brought her there and we had a good time, and this is some of the footage of that. Hello!
There you go. Turn around.
Hello everybody! So who's everybody? Let's start with her.
They're starved, you can tell.
Oh, absolutely.
Come here. Come on. Let me scratch. Whoop. Okay.
What's her name?
This is Jolene, Eskimo, Gigi, Cinderella, Darcy, and
Okay.
I got it right! Well, to me, that's Huna, Darcy, Cinderella, Gigi, Eskimo. All right, and Jolene. You know how come I know? Because Eskimo looks like her mother Irving.
So her operation is much more on the smaller side, solely focused on genetics almost. She has a meat portion of her business, but it's not her main focus. And she's starting to board horses. So it's kind of cool. It's a nice setup, and her animals are gorgeous. So for sure, we had a lot of fun, and she is, of course, an absolute joy to talk to. I love talking to her so much. So yeah, that's what I did today. And now we're working on the rest of the day. So yeah, that's that. Do you want to try standing up?
Right?
If you sit up here?
Like that?
I don't know if that's gonna work.
No, I need a... Come on.
Stop it. I forgot.
It fell in the direction that we wanted to take it.
If I bring it round your way.
3-point turn.
Success so far.
I don't think it's gonna fit.
We'll figure it out.
Do we have straps? We could tow it.
Not bungee cord on the thing. It's fine. All right. Get this bad boy on the side by side. Do a shot. Do a hole, or no, we'll get a drill bit and then we'll put a hole.
Yep. Cut to about here
Well, I was thinking here, right? For the tree topper, or should we go here?
So I would go here because I usually have to stuff the topper with paper towel to make sure it doesn't wiggle.
Oh, okay.
And if we go here,
And I can hack off these little.
then yeah, we can kind of trim the ends of those.
Okay.
But that's okay. We'll put it towards the back anyway.
Alright, okay, come on.
Huh?
Hey, good girl, Cookie. You have to stay there for a little bit.
She's like, but its door's open.
Yeah.
Let's see if we cut enough off. I don't know. I don't know. You're just...
in. Good? Okay. Okay, you're in.
Hey, babe.